Ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news. I was scrolling, I was on X, I just finished making a video, and I saw an update from Adam Schefter. I had to double check and make sure I wasn't getting fake Adam Scheftered, but no, it is indeed true. Darius Slay, formerly on the Pittsburgh Steelers, we were in Pittsburgh this previous Sunday, he was a healthy scratch, formerly a Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagle, got claimed today on waivers by the Buffalo Bills. Completely out of left field. Completely out of left field. I needed to come live. I needed to talk to you guys on this, where I think that the Bills' heads were at, why we decided to make a move, because surprisingly enough, right, when it comes into the defense, it has been subject to criticism for a very long time. You can point and pick at the run defense, although I thought the run defense looked very good against Pittsburgh. Hopefully we maintain that trajectory. And then number two, we have hit an unprecedented injury bug like none we have seen before. And one of the few bright spots of this Bills defense was the secondary. I felt comfortable once we ended up finding out the perfect safety tandem, which is Jordan Poyer, which is, of course, Cole Bishop. And while Tre'Davious White was also a player that a lot of us would rag on at the beginning of the season for quote-unquote being washed, he's been great. He's been solid. He has only given up 2 receptions since week 6. He's been really coming into his own. You have Max Hairston. He's been doing his thing, really making the most out of all of his really overall snaps. And Christian Benford, okay? He's getting back to CB1. He's getting back to that dude that is regarded as one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL. So what I ultimately ended up doing, I don't really see how this is a fit, right? But I don't see how it could hurt, really, at the exact same time. What I look at this situation, I've come to this conclusion. Perhaps what this front office is doing is they are just doubling down on their strengths, since there are no possible solutions to the pass rush and or bringing in another linebacker. So why not, right? Say, for example, that Bosa is going to be out for a couple of weeks. We've heard that from Sean McDermott, or he at least teased that it could be for a couple of weeks. We're not going to have anything. So us getting to the quarterback, I mean, we're only going to have to hope on coverage sacks here, ladies and gentlemen, right? Maybe Morgan Fox gets elevated. Maybe he can have something to say about it. But with Darius Slay, I don't particularly see him taking snaps away from Tre'Davious White. I don't particularly see him taking snaps away from Christian Benford. However, in certain occasions, I can see Buffalo utilizing him in specific dime packages. Once we end up running out like 6 DBs, maybe against a more crazy passing attack. I wouldn't feel all that comfortable rolling him out against Cincinnati. In fact, one of the games where we have played them already, or he played them while on the Steelers, it was definitely a rough showing. But I think that's kind of where McDermott's head was at. I'm not mad, right? Because a lot of what this fan base does is damned if you do and damned if you don't. So as far as going out and making at least some sort of moves to seemingly improve our squad, it's not terrible. I did end up diving into what sort of player he was. And guys, don't get caught up on the name, right? Don't get caught up on big play Slay. All right? He's 34 years old. He's nowhere near where he was back in 2019, 2020. However, there's still a couple of things in his game in which that I think that we could be excited about, okay? Now, in 2024, while with Philadelphia, 15 passes defended and 0 interceptions. He's not really had much of a, we have someone saying holy unk in the chat. We have not seen a multiple interception season from this guy since 2023. I think that makes sense. It comes with age. However, Slay's EPA has fluctuated dramatically across seasons. Okay, so it's up and down. His best recent performance came in 2024 with only a .242 EPA per target, Well, in 2005 shows his worst efficiency was at 1.7. He's really fluctuated throughout his career. And here's his career progression. Solid baseline performance in 2022 per advanced analytics. Significant regression in 2023. Bounce back year in 2024 while he was with Philadelphia, minus the picks, but a lot of pass breakups, which is ideal. And then in 2025, a major regression. So who's to say that we didn't truly see his potential as the 34-year-old cornerback while he was in Pittsburgh? There is such thing as a player just not being able to fit a specific system. And I don't think that Buffalo would have claimed him off of waivers if they didn't have a place for him in this secondary. So with this move, I would like to taper everybody's expectations. He's 34. He's been fluctuating as far as efficiency. He had a bounce back year last year in Philly, okay? Minus interceptions. He still was, I'd say, relatively solid when it came into pass breakups. And this year in Pittsburgh, he's been awful. Like last week against Buffalo, he was a healthy scratch. So maybe McDermott ultimately ended up looking at this and he said, nah, he's going to fit my system great. My theory is this: he's just depth on the vast majority of defensive packages. And he's your sixth DB when it comes into like sort of dime package. Like that's my thought process on it, but we will see. I highly doubt that we're going to be seeing a lot of him on Sunday versus Cincinnati. I just don't see it. First time watching. Good job, brother. Thank you so much, man. Welcome into the show, my friend. We are so happy to see you. And we're live Monday through Friday at 10:15 a.m. EST. Certainly mark that on your calendars. Utilize me as a podcast to get through the workday. Baseline is we're getting him for free. Free assets and depth is perfectly welcomed in Buffalo. For sure, right? It's not like that there was a super secret stash of elite pass rushers or linebackers out there that can assist to create a more consistent like rushing defense. I'm fine with doubling down on our strengths because this secondary has been performing very, very well. Many people would argue it's like, oh no, Dan, it's because teams are running against us. That's why these numbers are skewed. I don't look at those sort of numbers. I don't look at box score stats. I look at efficiency, how they look on a per drive basis. And this secondary in Buffalo is a very good unit. We are top 10 in most advanced metrics by itself. So us doubling down, having one more asset, I suppose I trust Darius Slay more than I trust Jamarcus Ingram, right? I suppose I would admit to that. So at the very least, quality depth, worst case scenario, say that we want to get funky or whatever within defensive coverages in late December and also going into the playoffs. He's your sixth DB for me when it comes into dime package situations. So not a bad thing. Don't put Slay on Diggs next week. Buffalo Wings. I highly doubt it. He's just a depth player at the end of the day. We have Dilly Dale. Stop it. Beane is a clown. He brought back Shaw Lawson, who hasn't played in over a year. So, number one, I'm not going to shame Beane for bringing back somebody with familiarity. Like, what did you want him to do? Like, raise somebody up from the practice squad? Like, what would have excited you? What player from the super secret stash of elite defensive linemen post-trade deadline would you have preferred him to bring in? This front office literally focused on building this defensive line this year. That's all they did. That's where all of their free agent investments went. That's where all of, or a lot of their draft capital went. Nobody planned on four guys being on the IR and then Joey Bosa tearing or like hurting his hamstring right before we get into December. I would much rather bring back a person that is familiar with the team so that there's a far smaller learning curve than for me to bring in somebody that's going to take a couple of weeks to learn the playbook who may not even fit within our system in the first place. So the whole like thing that's weird to me, like, why are people pissed about somebody bringing in a guy on a vet minimum contract that doesn't even go against the cap? That's not even in our top 51. like players. Some people just get angry about some of the silliest things on this team. It's crazy. It's wild. It's wild, guys. It's wild to me. Let me see. It didn't work out because he blows at drafting. That's just not true. That's just not true. He's solid. He's solid at drafting. This move makes me feel different about Beane since he didn't do anything during the trade deadline. But here's the thing, Buffalo Wings, right? So here's the thing. Why does it make you feel differently about him? He's 34 years old. Sometimes I feel like people are just obsessed with names and they really don't look at context and like how you end up fitting into a specific organization. Slay's 34, dude. So the same reason why you're mad about him picking up Shaq Lawson, you should have this exact same energy for Darius Slay. It just doesn't make philosophical sense based off of what the fan base picks and chooses to be pissed off about. Like really at the end of the day, it's me. And look, we don't ultimately end up having like these crazy first round draft picks because we've never sucked bad enough to be in a position to bring in a game changer. And so do they all want us to be like shit like for a while? I really don't understand. I really don't understand. And half of the reason and why I'm going to leave this alone is this. And so I know that I'm welcoming quite a few of old people that like used to be in here and for some odd reason they just didn't like show up anymore. I don't know. Like maybe they think that like bought and paid by the Bills organization for how so apologetic I am for this front office. But you pounding the table and demanding Brandon Beane to be fired is a waste of your time. It is a giant waste of your time. You are wasting breath, wasting energy. It's not happening. It is not happening, folks. No coach is being fired at this very moment. Beane is not being fired. It's just not happening. So what I suggest that you shift your energy to is trying to understand how this team can make it work right now. There is no use of focusing on things that are uncontrollable. It's just how it is, right? Like you can express frustration, but to make the whole fire Brandon Beane like your key personality point, very oftentimes I feel like a lot of you guys are brainwashed by the mob. And I don't genuinely believe that that is your true thought. And so it is what it is. And so I don't really hate him as nearly as much as a lot of people do. It's quality stuff. He's great with late round picks. He's built a lot of really good guys. And I mean, look, so as far as him not ever making the home run hit, like he's made a trade for Diggs. He signed Von Miller. I mean, no one knew that Von Miller was going to tear his ACL. He was looking like a game wrecker for the first 6 games. So it is what it is, dude. And so it is what it is. And so if you want to blame anything, like right about this team, like blame this team's awful luck at being able to stay healthy when it matters most. Because that's genuinely what it is. That's genuinely what it is. Like people, so with people hate excuses right until they have one that fits their narrative, right? It's just how it is. Like you look at everything. Out of each and every single playoff loss we have ever had, look at our injury report. Look at every single injury report that we had going into the game. And don't give me with the injuries are a part of the game, okay? Certain team efficiencies plummet based off of matchup. It's how it is. Like, look, no matter what I say, you are always going to be bought into this whole thing that it's him, he's the problem, right? He's the problem why we're bad. He's it, blah, blah, blah. It's because you're brainwashed by the mob. It really is. And let me tell you something, guys. Don't be brainwashed by the mob. Don't be afraid to have an actual unique and individual thought on the team. Because I promise you with these burner accounts, okay? And so you shouldn't be afraid with a bunch of grown men with a SpongeBob profile picture on Twitter laughing at you or putting a clown emoji, okay? I have no idea why people are so scared of that, right? Or maybe you're hopping on the fire Brandon Beane bandwagon because you think you're going to get some sort of validation or something on social media from, again, a bunch of anonymous accounts on the internet that more than likely you wouldn't like in real life. It's wild to me. It's crazy to me. So don't buy into what the masses always say, because it is a very uneducated take. It is wildly uneducated. That's me. Let me see. And so, I mean, old players who get injured is a common sense thing, like playing a 33-year-old Von Miller, like paying a 33-year-old Von Miller. Well, right before that, he went how many years without getting an injury? He was still at the top of his game, like with the production with the LA Rams that year before. He was, I mean, so completely through the roof, right? And so it is what it is, dude. Yeah, Buffalo Wings saying, I agree. Line might have played better without the tackles, honestly, besides the 2 false starts. And so the Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl. That guy, Thao, is saying they have the most playoff experience out of all the playoff teams right now. Dude, I feel very confident about this team going into December and the playoffs. I do. I genuinely do. What's up, guys? How you doing? Social media has altered fandom, and people have no patience, and hot take media feeds off of it. Dismiss the mob. We are spoiled. For sure. I always encourage people, right? So to really look into things. One thing that I promise you is no matter what, I am going to tell you the truth. Very oftentimes you'll hear people spread this propaganda, okay? Spread this propaganda about a variety of different topics. Like, number one, this offense is bad and Joe Brady is terrible. It's not true. And so the problem is based off of all 22 and based off of advanced analytics. It's our propensity of turning the football over. That is the problem. That is the only key difference from the offensive production last year and this year. It is the only one. It is the only one. This whole wide receivers aren't getting open, you're wrong. We're the 12th highest open rate out of every single team in the NFL. And before you come up and you say, no, you don't, Dan, watch the games. You don't watch film. You watch people watch film. There is a key difference here, ladies and gentlemen. Massive difference. So if you end up watching a YouTuber who pulls up 6 clips from a game, that's about 10% of the game. And you walk around thinking that you know the full story. I promise you, like when it comes into Bills wide receivers creating separation, 12th in the NFL per DVOA and FTN. It's just the truth. And the funny thing is, just to tickle your brains a little bit, because I'm sort of curious about it. If you were to guess what team in the league has the highest separation rates in general, not the team, but the actual percentage. So imagine the team that has the highest separation percentage in the NFL. Don't tell me the team, but tell me what that percentage is. What percentage of the time is the best team in the NFL or the best receivers in the NFL getting open? I'm just curious. Someone guess in the chat. Someone guess in the chat. We have Michael Allen coming in. We have SSC Goat saying that it's at. He says 2.6. No. So the thing is, based off of how you hear a lot of these personalities talk about wide receiver separation on this team, I am convinced that they're just doing it because they know that that's what the masses are at. Like 21%. No. Like, look, separation rate, based off of what you hear from people on the radio, like you would assume that there is a team out there that has a 90% separation rate. That doesn't exist, folks. That just doesn't exist. Based off of coverage, okay, per FTN. So the best team in the NFL for finding an open receiver, 52%. That's the best team by a country mile, by an absolute country mile. And then with Josh Allen's top 10 right now at 42.6. Worst team in the NFL, is San Francisco, which is pretty bad right now, as a matter of fact, at 34% down there. So this whole fallacy that rate that we hear, that people are pretending that every single drive, not a single receiver is open, and there's some magic team in the league that's open 95% of the time, is just propaganda. My goal on this channel is to pave a path for all of you guys to start thinking freely and question some of the mob mentalities. That's my overall goal. That is false. We have Jimmy here. So with Jimmy, respectfully, I don't think that you watch film. I think that you watch people watch film. Wide receivers are open underneath. How much of our team is over 30 with the ATP? Quite a bit. So you say it's all Josh Allen's fault. No, it's turnovers. So it's turnovers, man. So Josh is certainly contributing to turnovers, but then there's also fumbles from Cook. There's fumbles from wide receivers. It's the offense's issue. It's how it is. A different topic, but do you know if wide receiver prospect Denzel Boston out of Washington is a ex-wide receiver? He's another jump ball ex-wide receiver. I don't think that he would be a good guy. And so, in my opinion, what do you lose from bringing in Slay? Nothing really. So I hear we just ended up releasing Ingram. That's what it's like. Dad, how do you like Slay? He's a guy, he's a guy. I'm kind of interesting. Right now, Drake May and the Pats are outplaying Allen and the Bills. So does separation really mean that much? So the Patriots also have a schedule where the combined record of every team they have played is 44-88. So we do need to understand that, right? So I will give credit. And so I will give credit to the Patriots and Drake May for having a hell of a season so far. I really, really will. But we need to acknowledge that they have not really been going up against a gauntlet. I'm curious to see what they look like against whoever they play in the playoffs. That's me. So I'm not ready to crown them as the next coming, if you will. Is there a stat metric out there that measures separation against man cover zero looks? Yes, but here's the problem as well. Most people talk about separation, but separation really doesn't mean much when you're seeing zone. The problem with Buffalo this year is with defenses are now ramping up zone coverage. So the problem with the Bills was that we were scheming guys open underneath, like the check down or like the short little passes right to the running back, which we did all year. And what Josh was just ignoring them. Okay. But downfield, it's wide receivers finding space. It's not separation. It's finding space. So with Buffalo has been struggling with that transition, but now that I think we bring in Brandon Cooks, hopefully Dalton Kincaid gets back. I heard that he aggravated a knee or something along those lines. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Let me see. We lose nothing, but I actually like Ingram. For sure. You really don't. And honestly, I like Slay. He could be moved to safety. Get Poyer out of there. I'm sorry he is not the same guy. He's been playing well, Tim. He's been playing really well. Yeah. No. Tim, brother. Love ya. Love ya, dude. But I am definitely not going to be moving a 34-year-old corner who has never played safety in his entire life when Jordan Poyer is arguably half of the reason why Cole Bishop has looked so good. So I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that. We have Low Piccolo saying, and people are too hyped on the Pats and they're winning the games they should against bad teams, but it's still against bad teams. I'm holding off until next season to see how good they really are. I'm holding off. And so until I see the Kansas City Chiefs going to Foxborough for wild card weekend. Say that they can take down Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the wild card, something that like we truly haven't been able to do in the playoffs. And for sure, that's when I'm going to buy into it. We will definitely need Kincaid versus the Pats at their home. I agree. Dan, and do you know who we may be signing or giving a contract extension to for next season? What's the cap going to look like? It's better, but we still are going to need to have some difficult conversations. So you have Connor McGovern and David Edwards are both going to be pending free agents. So do we let both of them walk away? Do we sign David Edwards and maybe we end up giving Cedric Van Pran Granger his opportunity at center? Do we sign McGovern and we go back to the draft to find, like an interior offensive lineman? And so I think that that's where we go is that interior offensive lineman in next year's draft at some point. I'd say probably year 1 through 3, but that's my take. And the Bills are trash and Darius Slay won't help. You know nothing about ball. Philip is coming in. Why don't we just wait and see instead of criticizing how bad Slay might be and see if he can do this, then criticize. We're just having a conversation, man. And so it's open. And so it's open conversation. Welcome to the internet, my friend. Welcome to the internet. And so a place where people talk. Let me see. So especially them coming off their bye, they're definitely watching film. I don't believe Diggs will have the same energy he did when coming into our home, but Drake has been amazing this year. So look, say that we dial back all of the turnovers, and people have been in a consistent state of denial when it comes into our offense all season long. Like people really have, although, and so the film tells you, and so the stats tell you. And so the problem with this offense was turnovers. Each and every single loss we have had, folks, 3 of the 4, we had 3+ turnovers. You don't win games that way. You don't. You just don't win games that way. And we had 3 against the New England Patriots. We had 3. Say that we don't turn the football over, and so we do our thing. Yes, the Joe Brady system works, and we win. And so if we didn't turn the ball over 3 times against Atlanta, we would have won the game. And so if we didn't turn the football over 3 times against the Houston Texans, guess what? Probably would have won the game. 3 times against the Patriots, probably would have won the game. It's how it is, dude. It's how it is. How about we get... Okay, we have Gary coming in. How about we get of the guys that get hurt every year? We seem to be in a bad position with injuries every year. Okay, who would you replace them with? Right? That becomes the question. Like, that becomes the question. It's just like, okay, like, let's just get rid of everybody that's ever had an injury before. Okay, cool. So we're not going to be able to pick their replacement in the first round, right? Say that we were to get rid of like 5 players who have like a pretty decorated injury history. We're not going to be able to replace their production with a first rounder like next year. We're not going to have 7 first-round picks. We're also not going to be able to afford to bring in somebody that at least matches their production when healthy. We'd probably have to pick and choose. So what can you do, right? So within the league, guys, like, it's no stranger. With every team deals with injuries, and very oftentimes, like, you're dealing with pretty key pieces that come into it. It's just how it is. And so, I mean, the same ones that are hurt every year, not a one-off injury, so Milano, etc. Luckily, so he's a free agent next year. But when Matt Milano's playing good, he's playing good. We have my boy Jimmy coming in. He's saying, yeah, like that interception to Gabe Davis, no separation, but Shakir was probably open by 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah. It happens, dude, right? But one thing that should excite you guys is based off of everything I've seen from Brandon Cooks. And so I watched each and every single one of his routes. He's being used in a way that every other wide receiver on our roster was not being used at all, probably due to talent like limitations. But like we saw him hitting that post. We saw that dude hitting that post in heavy formations in 12 man, like he was your post guy. His hitch routes are absolutely beautiful. And one specific corner route that he ran was a thing of beauty. I cannot wait for him to be more in tune with the playbook. He's really going to help this downfield passing game. I don't give a shit about downfield passing. I don't. A lot of people are obsessed with it for some odd reason. I don't get it. Like yards after the catch to me is far more important than like sort of downhill speed, right? Or like a crazy wide receiver number one. It's funny how like this team goes, you know what I mean? Because 3 years ago, when Stephon Diggs was on this team, okay, we had wonderful separation from him. But do you want to know what fans were complaining about? We had no yards after the catch. We were one of the worst teams in the league for yak. And people were literally complaining about yak. Now we're one of the best yak teams in the NFL. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're number one in the NFL for yards after the catch. We still have great separation, and people are still mad. It's wild. It's wild to me. And so I'm not doing this to shame you. What I'm doing this is to bring you to the light side, baby. Bring you to the positive side. All right? Because things aren't as bad as you think that they are. We just need to clean up the turnovers. That's all it ever is. That is all it ever is. That's all it ever is. We have Whiskey Fox. Danny, deep threat kills off shell coverage, so I completely disagree. So with Josh Allen is completely fine with shell coverage, right? So with this offense, literally was the highest scoring offense in the NFL last year, highest in franchise history with the current Joe Brady model. So do you want to really talk about it? What do you want? Like a Dable or like a Dorsey type offense where it's like 4 verts? Why do you think we lost, dude? Why do you think that we ended up losing to the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs a couple of years ago? Because Dorsey was just Mr. 4 vert, dude. Like we couldn't run the football. And once you end up taking that away with conditions, screwed Ken Dorsey. Thanks to Kevin for pointing that out to me. But with conditions, screwed Ken Dorsey because he had nothing else. Shit on the offense as much as you want, but there is no more efficient offense to run than this time of the year right now. And that is an absolute fact. When every single Sunday moving forward, especially going into the playoffs, right? It's probably going to be like 35-mile-an-hour winds, -2 degrees. Yeah. Like this offense wasn't built to like blow teams out in September or October. That's clearly not this team's goal. It's to build an offense that can compete late in the season and into the playoffs. And by none, it's just, and so it is who it is. We have Scott right now. Was at the Cincy game. Footing was big time. And so they had us on our heels all game, for sure. And with Dorsey had nothing underneath. When Kincaid is back and the offense will look a lot more efficient, it's been fine all year, minus the turnovers. That is quite literally the problem, like with the team. Will Trey get less reps now with Slay on the team? I hope not, because Trey has been playing well. And so of our remaining games left, which 2 is our most difficult and our most likely to win? So I think we win out. So to be completely honest with you, I think that this Buffalo Bills team wins out. Yeah. I'm standing on business, baby. I'm standing on business. I think that we win out. 13-4, probably like a 5th seed. Dan, and so I really hope we keep running Cook because he is carrying this offense. He's great, dude. Thank God we paid him. That's what I'm talking about. So Burrow is going to light us up, worrying about this one. But at the same time, there's something I think you guys need to understand. So you think our defense is bad? And so the Bengals have the 4th worst defense in NFL history through 12 weeks of this season, per DVOA. They have the 4th worst defense in NFL history. I did not lie to you there. In NFL history through 12 games of any season ever. So yes, I do think that Burrow is going to win quite a bit with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But if this Buffalo Bills team does not score 40 points, then I am going to be upset. It's not a lie either, guys. Like, they are truly bad. And so I know a lot of you hate advanced metrics, but you know what? Here are the Madden metrics for you, since I know you love Madden metrics. You know what I mean? 32nd in opposing pass yards per game. So they are allowing 256.8 yards per game, okay? 153.3 rushing yards allowed per game. That is 31st in the NFL, guys. 28th ranked red zone defense, 31st ranked third down defense, 32nd in the league for yards per game, and 32nd in the league for points per game. They are awful. They are historically bad. And I'm not saying that in jest. And then when it comes into what Josh Allen could potentially do as well, let's go ahead and take a look here. They are allowing 93.4 yards per game. That is not a high. That is an average from tight ends. They are allowing 93.4 yards per game against tight ends. It's pretty damn good if you ask me. Followed by, they are awful at guarding running backs in the pass game, 32nd in the NFL, and they're 30th so against slot receivers. And that's some of our strengths on this team. So, yes, maybe Joe Burrow goes out there and maybe he hangs 30 on this team. But you know what? And so if this Bills team can't go out there and put up 40, I don't know what to tell you. And so I think this is going to be very similar to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. It's feeling that way to me, but we'll see. So are we going to see Morgan Fox or Shaq Lawson? I hope it's Morgan Fox. I think that he brings a bit more to the table. Question, will Bosa get a fine if he puts Burrow in protocol? Bosa's not going to play. He hurt his hamstring. And for the Bills to win the division, Pats need to lose the Bills and the Dolphins and or the Jets. Yeah. Indeed, man. And remember, so they also have the Baltimore Ravens as well. So that's something to consider. Say the Bills are going to play conservative this week due to the weather. We will win, but it will be a slow sort of game, 30-27 Bills. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. All right, folks, that is going to have to do it. I got to remind everybody that I am a part of a show called the AFC East Roundtable. Okay? What we do, it's myself, a Dolphins fan, a Jets fan, and a Patriots fan, and we ultimately end up meeting once a week to rip each other's throats out about the AFC East. Highly recommend that you go on over to this channel right over here. You will see it. It's the AFC East Week 14 preview. Certainly go on ahead and roll on over, guys. We have a great time on the AFC East Roundtable. And subscribe to the channel for us. Love having Bills fans over there supporting me. And then more importantly, say that you guys are new to the show. I've seen quite a few new names based off of the breaking news. I'm live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. EST, at 10:15 a.m. EST. A lot of you listen to me while you're going about your work day, your day-to-day responsibilities. So say that you would like to have me help you get through your workday by listening to a Buffalo Bill show 5 days a week. Feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, and I sincerely hope that you come back. All right. Thank you guys so much. I will see you over on the AFC East Roundtable, and we'll see you soon. Deuces.